Hi everyone, I'm Melissa. Today I'm gonna present our linguistic books, Chapter 1 summary. The chapter is about the nature of human language, linguistic science, and some terms about language. If you are ready, let's start it. Nature of language and linguistics. In this page, there are some keywords, and we will learn these terms in the progressing time. Let's move on. The nature of human language. Language resembles to human. It is rule-governed, creative, universal, inherent, and learned, all at the same time. We will look into these terms in detail, but before doing so, we briefly investigate some preconceptions about language. Let's move on. Essential beliefs, fundamental beliefs about language. We all have certain deep-rooted notions concerning the nature of language. These are often wrong, though they are partly correct. As literate beings, we tend to equalize language and writing. But there are significant differences, not only between verbal sounds and written symbols, but also between spoken and written syntax or vocabulary. More importantly, we assume that there is some necessary, inevitable, or motivated connection between a word and the thing it names. Linguistic science. Human language consists of signs. This science can stand for anything such as concrete objects, abstractions. There are a wide range of ways that science stands for. The philosopher Peirce recognized three types of signs. The first one is iconic, which resemble the things they represent. For example, photographs, diagrams, chemical models. And the second one is indexical, which point out or have a basic connection with the things they represent. For example, smoke to fire may be weathercock to the direction of the wind, a symptom to an illness, other a laugh softly to joy, or a frown to rage. These are the examples. And the third one is symbolic, which are simply conventionally related to the thing they stand for. For example, a flag to a nation, a rose to love, a wedding ring to marriage. Let's move on. The rule governed nature of language. Language, form of science occurring in a system. The rules of a language or its underlying system are inferable from the observable pattern of the language. The rules of language act as a kind of restrictions on what is possible in a language. Let's move on. Language universals, innateness, and creativity. More general constraints known as language universals. These are features of a language which are not language particular. These are in the all language of world. Human language is innate, that we are born with an inborn capacity for language acquisition and are genetically equipped with learning language. This genetic disposition to to learn a language is thought to account for the quickness and ease with children learn their first language during a pivotal period of language acquisition, despite the fact that the language data that they hear is missing, that they receive no negative evidence, and that they are seldom clearly taught or corrected. And the other term is creative. In spite of restrictions on language, it's considered that language is creative and endless. There are two features, there are two traits of creativity in language. The first one is human being can create new sentences and even new words and comprehend them. And the second one is we human can form infinitary sentences. Let's move on. Definitions of grammar. Grammar is utilized to refer to the rules or principle in language. Let's look at descriptive grammar. It refers to the structure of language. It's actually utilized by speakers and writers. It's attention to formulate the speakers in a set of rules. And the other one, prescriptive grammar. It's attempt to establish and keep a standard of correctness in the language. It's thought that it should be used. And prescriptive grammar includes value judgments rest on factors as social status and level of education. Let's move on. In policies concerning grammar, there are some policies about language that are commonly believed. One of the policies is that there are languages that have no grammar or little grammar. If grammar is described as the rule of which a language, it must be known that every language has grammar, and each language grammar is utterly enough. And another policy about the structure of grammars, which was also current in the 18th and 19th century, was that grammars should be logical and analogical. There were a number of attempts to annihilate supposed illogical features of English grammar. And such as two or more negatives for emphasis, which was prevalent before 18th century, but was then judged by principle of logic to make it affirmative. Let's move. Linguistics and the components of language. The first component is phonology. It's the work of speech sounds of a particular language. A subdivision of phonology is phonetic, the study of the speech sounds of human language in general, either from the perspective of their production, their comprehension, or their physical traits. And the second component of language is morphology. Morphology is the work of the structure or form of words in a particular language and of their classification. And the third component of language is syntax. Syntax is the study of the rule and regulation of words into larger units, as well as the relationship holding between elements in this hierarchical units. Structure and type of sentences is at the forefront. And the fourth component of language is semantics. Semantics is the work of how meaning is conveyed in words, phrases, or clauses. The study of semantics focuses either on meanings concerning the outside world or meaning related to the grammar of sentence. Smooth. And the last component of language, a fifth component of language not part of the conventional subsection, but added in the last years, is pragmatics. Pragmatics is the work of functions of language and its use in contexture. And that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.